Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family. Hey parents, welcome to the Weekly Rethink. So if you've been around this podcast, you know that Suzanne and I are located in the northern DFW area, specifically the Denton County area. And so in our workings in this community, we meet a lot of people, right, Suzanne?
A lot of amazing people.
Yes, and a lot of people that are working in ministry. And so we were introduced
and have a heart for family like we do.
Yes, and we were introduced to a wonderful couple that's here with us today, Tim and Tesh Beaty, who joined us on the podcast.
Which is a super cool story because we weren't just introduced. Tish and I are longtime friends.
And my mom.
We knew each other when we were 10.
We were 10.
Yeah, for a short period.
And my mom was a school teacher, and so she taught Tim. So we have
So we're all interconnected.
It's a very small world here in Denton County. But like Suzanne and I, Tesh and Tim have been investing in families in this area literally for decades. And so we're going to talk about their ministry. And here's the focus of their ministry. They focus on connecting parents to teenagers. And they have
and teenagers are foreign beings, aren't they?
Stranger things.
Stranger for sure. So
Look
as
at
parents.
You relating to the culture.
That's our theme
relating
this
to
year.
Netflix.
Yep.
Wow.
Stranger things.
Okay. Well, and so they
So
also.
as parents, we desperately need that connection. Yeah. So you're going to love this podcast today.
Yes. Yeah, and they have a related conference that's coming up at the end of January. So without further ado, welcome Tish and Tim.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Crazy Cool Family.
That's right. Let's just start out with you guys introducing us to your ministry and how you kind of got started with teens, and tell us a little bit about how you guys came about eventually launching a conference here.
Well, it started about 20-something years ago. And after Tim and I got married, we were involved with youth ministry and have been off and on for the last 20 years. Through that as well, we serve in an area in Denton that most people are very aware of, at Woman-to-Woman Pregnancy Resource Center, where Tim has been the board chair for several years. And I work with the Living Choices program, where we go into middle schools and high schools and teach an abstinence-based program. And so I get to be in the classroom with middle school and high schoolers. So we're very, very teen youth oriented, and that's kind of where our passion started, really, was that far back.
Wow, and very much on the front lines. Talk about, abstinence, and that's incredible to be right there in that. Thank you so much for using your time and energy to invest in those areas of society in Denton County.
And so you guys were you were telling me that you were talking with teenagers a lot, obviously, in this ministry, realizing then that the real success was going to be getting to the parents, right?
Yes.
And so tell us about that kind of transition and how the conference started, and really your ministry that's been going on now for a few years.
When you're in youth ministry, you hear a lot of pretty painful stories, and you know that there's a broken home life. There's not a connection there. And then when you are in a classroom with teenagers, you can tell those that don't have a connection with their parents as well. And so through all of that, I just had this stirring that we really needed to start educating the parents. And information that we share, whether it's in a youth group setting or whether it's in a classroom setting, if the parents are not implementing that same information, then what we do is almost irrelevant, because it really needs to come from the parents. And so it started to happen. The kind of the vision began in 2012 and didn't really begin to become into fruition until 2014.
Well, and even then, I'm going to back up just a little bit, because I love the story of you guys having a vision, and I love it how God takes a vision that went many years ago and brings it into fruition. And so part of that vision too was establishing a place for people to come to, and tell us a little bit about that story, and then we'll roll into the conference as well, because I think it's fascinating for parents to hear that.
It's a cool story.
Yeah, well, Don, we we just had a heart for youth, like Tish was saying, and Arbery area is where we live, and Arbery didn't really have anything to offer youth, and so we just had this vision of creating a place, a safe place to come and just have an opportunity to pour into young people and to feed and just prepare them for life and to pour Jesus into them. And we ended up creating but we had found this property and we just felt God's calling to start a retreat ranch, and it's 40 acres. It's a beautiful place, and God had such a bigger dream there. It offered for families and church ministries and reunions and just to pour into pastors and including youth and all kinds of things go on out there. And we started that in 1999.
Wow. And so I'm gonna
incredible.
Some of the things I love to do is cast vision for parents for their future. But I'm gonna brag on you guys a little bit because Tim's a builder in town, and he's done a lot of construction and stuff, and God's blessed them greatly, and he's a great builder. If you see his work, it's amazing. But
if you want to build anything, call him.
Yes, exactly. and anything small to big, he builds big stuff. I mean, but they have taken what God blessed them with, and actually, this place is right across the street from where you grew up. Isn't that right,
Yes,
Tim? And so,
yes.
how God weaves all that together into this, and they've taken what the resources God's given them and just launched and affected literally hundreds, if not thousands, of families for the kingdom. And so, parents, what's God putting in your vision? Just that's just a little sidebar. You don't even have to pay for that one. Parents. What's God doing with your vision for your family, and just dream big, because they have dreamed big, and God has done some great things with this ranch as well as this conference. So out of that, so you've got the retreat center.
Yes.
But now you start to say, hey, I want to develop something for parents, this parent-teen conference, which is really unique. Usually just the parents come, or they do a youth group thing, but this is all together. So tell us a little bit about the conference.
So I had the vision for the conference. I didn't really know what it looked like as a big picture, but I knew that it had to be parents and their teenagers together to bridge that gap between them. And so the conference...
Because the relationship's so important.
Yes. And now we have, technology on the rise that's causing us to be very disconnected. We're the most disconnected globally, but the most connected globally, but the most disconnected emotionally.
Right.
Wow.
And so, and we see that all the time. And so the conference really is a time to come and connect or reconnect with your teen, and you'll be in sessions. There's parent sessions, there's teen sessions, and then there are combined sessions.
So the parents and teen come together, they register together, and then there's sessions for each of them, but they also have sessions together. That's so cool.
Yes, and there maybe they overlap. Maybe some of what the teens are hearing, the parents are also hearing, but they don't really know that. They don't really know what each other is hearing.
They're just teenagers.
Yeah. But Friday night we totally believe that, we need to have more fun as a family. And so Friday night is all about family Olympics, and it's just breaking down the awkwardness, because we know teens do not want to be there because they're not familiar with it.
Big
so we make
icebreaker.
Yeah, you even have s'mores,
Brilliant.
right?
We have s'more fun at the end of Friday night at the fire pit, and it's so fun. We have an 80s theme this year, so it really is Stranger Things. and then Saturday we dive right in, and we have some amazing speakers that will be coming. We always have amazing speakers. This is a group called Axis, and they are a millennial aged, gospel-minded group that bridges the gap between parents and their teens. And so that'll be all day Saturday. And then it ends with a phenomenal connection experience that I can't even put into words. I don't tell anybody about it because there are no words for it, but it's phenomenal. And it will break down the walls between parents and teens and really begin that connection process.
Yeah, so website is for the conference?
It's very long, parentpipelineproject.org, and that's where you can find out more information and register.
So we're going to talk a little bit more, summarize that at the end of the conference. So if you didn't write that down, parents, we're going to come back. Parentpipelineproject.org will get you signed up for the conference. But I want to talk to parents. As we were just talking to you guys, it just really hit me that, you guys got some really key things you could tell parents on. A lot of our parents have teenagers, or they will. Yes. They have
because that's the
pre-teenagers.
process that you go through to become an adult.
Yes. And every parent we talk to is like, oh my goodness, what? Either I have a teenager, or what am I going to do when my kid becomes a teenager? And what are a couple of things that you have? What are you finding in all of your talking with teenagers that that you would emphasize to parents to say, this is how we're going to solve this teenager connection problem?
Well, if you look around, you see that everybody's very busy. And even if they're busy with work, well, then most teenagers are busy with extracurricular activities or sports. And so there's never really that time to connect, because once you get home, you're tired, and you have, kids have homework, and parents probably still working at home. And so the key is really finding that time and making a priority to spend together, not just in proximity, but in presence.
And so, that's so awesome, because so often we see parents just wanting to control their teenagers and limit them. And even in the conference, and you would say this too, that we do need to address this technology issue. But yet what you're really saying is that the answer is time.
Right.
The answer is connection. And so, but how do you tell them to connect with? What do you do? I mean, because I know so often I'm trying to figure out. We were just talking about this last night. We were talking about how I've got 2 teenage boys at home, and how do we connect? All they want to do is stay in their rooms. Every time I feel like I'm bringing them out, they what, Dad, come on, whatever, But how are you telling them to connect? What are we doing to make those times valuable?
The control part's easy. The connection part is where the work comes.
Yeah. So what do we do about that?
You can control,
very
but if you're not connected, you're fighting a losing battle, because they're going to find a way. And if you're connected, then they have a love and respect and a relationship.
So what are some practical ways you guys are finding to connect with your kids and to show parents how to do that?
So have you heard of the 5 love languages?
No, go ahead.
Yes. 5 love languages. Yes. Well, there is a book, The 5 Love Languages of Teens. And so I highly encourage parents to know what those are and discover what they are in their teen, and because we can relate to them on that level.
So that's a book?
It's a book. There's a lot of books, but this is specifically for teenagers. Right. Well, parents of teenagers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. We've talked about the 5 love languages before, and so that's good to know that there's a specific one for teenagers.
Yeah.
Some are basic, having a meal together.
3 meals a week.
Right.
So many families don't even eat together.
Oh, I know. We struggle with that.
So I love that 3 meals. That feels manageable. I mean, out of 7 days, out of 3 meals a day, 21 meals. Out of 21 meals, if I can pick 3 we can have together, that feels doable.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one way. Get on their turf. What do they enjoy doing? Do they like to fish? Do they like to hunt? Do they like to shop? What do they like to do? And go do that with them. I think a lot of times when we want them to hang out with us, it's what we want to do.
Right.
It's not always what they want to do. So if it's appropriate, then, find what they like to do and be a part of their world.
Oh, that's good.
Really
That's good.
Yeah.
And so, and with that, how do you tell them to communicate with their teenager? Can you give them any tips about what works when you have that time?
Right.
So we're sitting across from the teenager, and all of a sudden it's like deer in the headlights. What do we do? What are some things so quality, knowing their love language, how do they get to know their teenager where they can become relevant in their lives?
I think you just ask questions, and sometimes it's not an eye to eye across the table, because they don't always respond to that. Sometimes it is out what they enjoy doing. Maybe you've been out shopping and you sit at the coffee bar and you just have conversation, but you do have to ask questions. And I think if you are on that level with them and it's not like a family meeting, then they're going to be more apt to open their heart and share with you, what it is about them that you need to know.
Yeah, so
Tish, and have you found in all your experience in the classroom and with these kids that they want to know their parents?
Yes.
They want to be known by their parents. And so I think sometimes parents, we come in and we don't want to ask the questions because we think we're bothering the child. And most of the time the teenager is giving off an air that we are bothering them.
Yes.
But if you can push past that, right?
Yes.
Yep. If you can.
It lets them know you care.
It lets them know you care.
Even
so
though
it's
they
worth
may
it.
act like
Even though
they're pushing back.
you're putting them out. Yes.
Yeah, so push.
Deep down, they want them.
Yeah, exactly. And
They
it seems
want
like the
the
older they
connection.
get, the more it happens. You know, that the more they're pushing back, the more they
Well,
kind of,
and that's because it's independence. They're growing
Right.
toward independence.
right.
And as a parent, you have to be prepared. Most of the time, it's at the worst opportune time that they open up
good.
and talk.
Right.
Oh,
And
so
so
good.
you-
Like at bedtime
you-
when you're
Yeah.
exhausted and you want to
Yes.
go to bed.
Or
Yeah.
I'm late to a meeting, or somebody's
Yes.
there. So you have to be prepared to say time out.
Yeah.
And
Because
mentally,
we don't get to predict those moments.
Right.
And when they
and
come,
you have
we
to
have
capitalize
yeah.
on those
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's
Capture.
so good. Yeah.
Capture. That's good.
Yeah,
good.
and just it seems like, and I think you would say this too, is that we just keep pushing in a little bit, and we tell parents a lot is to ask inquisitive questions, not accusatory questions.
Yes.
Is to be
Yes.
safe with your questions and to be very interested in them. Wouldn't you say that too? Instead of, now what are you doing? You know,
Yes.
why are you doing that?
Yes.
And then freaking
Not
out.
preaching, not controlling.
Yeah, and being careful, because then all of a
Just
sudden you're going to hear something,
Right.
Listening.
and you go, "Oh my goodness!" And then you want to react to that, but then that shuts them down.
Yeah. And that
Yes.
is a key point. Don't react, respond.
Right.
You know, I am a reactor. And so my daughter has told me that reason she has not in the past shared things with me is because she doesn't know how I'm going to react. But if I would just respond,
Yes.
then that would make our communication much better.
Right.
So good.
Well,
so
and so
good.
that's so awesome. So about connecting with your teenagers. So parents, if you take one thing out of today, just think, how am I going to connect? And it works
Right.
for 5-year-olds too. I mean, it works all throughout
Absolutely.
connecting.
Yes.
Because
So-
teenagers really are 5-year-olds. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
So let's transition a little bit to the other part of the conference, though, is that back to what we were talking about. Parents are asking all the time, what do I do about technology in teenagers? Because it's this, we don't understand it. They understand it. They're the experts. We're not. And so I know we want to replace technology with connection, but we also got to put some parameters on there too, right?
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
what are you guys seeing that works in terms of technology?
Yeah, that's the number one issue when a parent asks, you know, when they have issues is about technology. And so there are, you know, if they're in your home, if they're, you know, under 18 and in your home, you have the right to put boundaries on these things and restrictions, and they earn a privilege to use technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the question?
Well, and so how do you? That's a
good.
great.
No, that's
yeah.
great.
So how do you put those parameters up and without alienating the child? And how do you, again, working in this communication realm? How do you do that in a way that is still builds the relationship as well?
Well, I've heard some parents say that they actually sit down and have like a written contract because then everybody knows, you know, what's expected. That's going to be difficult to do if you don't have a relationship with them because, again, that's
Right.
more of that. Just, you know, you've heard rules.
Rules without relationship don't work.
Right,
Yeah.
equals rebellion.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Or made to break.
Right.
Yeah. So I think you have to, at some point, you have to start that conversation and also tell them, you know, we want you to have this ability to have this device. We want you to be able to use it, but we also want you to be safe, and we want to help you be safe. And here are some ways that we're going to
Some
do that.
guardrails to put on that. And so you know what you would say is it's okay for them to put some guardrails on it, but to talk with them about it,
Yeah.
right? And not just lay the law down,
Right.
But to do it in the context of relationship. And it works better to do
Yeah.
it like that, right?
Yeah, and it probably also depends on, you know, the maturity level of the teen, the age of the teen, because that's going to change things a little bit differently between a middle school and a high school.
And
parent.
also probably helping parents, hey, get in there and understand the technology a little
Yes.
bit. Don't just treat it like a foreign. What would you tell them
Oh,
about
gosh.
that to try to understand? It seems impossible in some ways
It
to
does.
understand it, but how can parents, what would you recommend on that front?
Gosh, I don't even, you know, I tell parents, well, if you don't understand something, Google it because it will explain to you,
Right.
you know, whether it's an app or a game or whatever, because I don't have those answers. I don't know. And so I literally have to tell parents that, you know, you can find out those technical issues and problems, you can find that out through Google.
But you would encourage
to
them
educate yourself is what you're saying.
right.
Exactly, and inform
Yes,
yourselves.
because there are so many, and it's always changing. There's so many apps and filters, but it's constantly changing. I was told last night of 2 new apps that you can monitor your children's usage. I've never even heard of it.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's constant. It's just
and that's where also just being in community with parents,
Right.
talking to other parents as well, and just trying to be educated, Googling things and things like that.
And go to Access.
And then, I mean, and talk to your kids. Like I've had my kids educate me. Okay,
Yes.
what's this app? Why do you want to use it? Why would I want to use it? Where's the benefit? I mean, because they know it. It's where they live. You know, we visit it, but
Right.
it's where they live.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they might not share with you everything
And they
about
might not
that
know,
app.
especially if it's something that we might not want them
Right.
to have.
So you need to
And
Google
so,
it.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
Don, the statistics say a 10-year-old, most 10-year-olds, they're getting phones at 10 years old now.
Sure.
And parents really need to think about, you can still get a phone that's not a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
And
But that's social suicide.
Right.
Right. But a 10 and a 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
Maybe let it be age appropriate.
The smartphone today is what was a full-blown computer
Exactly.
when we were in school.
Right. Yeah.
And has way more powerful, and there's just so much exposure.
Well, and just realize, parents, it is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And you're just, the television is another powerful tool, and and now they're bringing that television into the screen, and so that's
Literally into their hand
into
as
their
they walk
hand.
around.
So,
Yeah.
Great time today, just talking about things. I think to wrap that piece up, parents, it's time first.
Yeah.
It's relationship first.
Absolutely.
And so often we gravitate towards the rules, like you were talking about, Tim and Tish, but in reality, it's so much better if we can do the relationship first, and then we can help them, guide them. Because what if it's their idea to do the right thing? What if we can have the relationship where they join with us, and then that becomes better. So how does the conference? Let's go back to the conference now, and how does that? How would you, if a parent signs up for the conference?
Yeah, let's sell them the conference. Give us some
by the end
information.
of that
Where, when,
conference,
how, who.
What do they have?
Yeah.
By the end of it, well, would you like for me to just read some of the topics?
Sure.
Okay. So
Okay.
we are what we love. Things we love come from what we think about and believe. The next session, that's for students. The other student session is Spend Yourself, encouraging teens to think outside themselves in a culture of narcissism and self-promotion. Parent sessions are 3 keys. Take a look at the world this next generation is embracing and living while demonstrating a practical approach to reaching the next generation. And then the big one, Teens and Tech, examining the leading technologies that are discipling the next generation.
So you're going to do both relational type things and some how to put technology
Teaching
guardrails in
information.
there. So really wrapping up both of those into one conference.
Yep.
Again, go to parentpipelineproject.org.
Right.
It's a great way to think about it. It's because your parents, you have a pipeline, and they have a project that's this pipeline that's connecting you, parents. So you got it, P3, right?
Right. Very good.
And our teenagers are certainly projects, aren't they?
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And Don, we've been told that people think this is for just troubled teens. It's far more.
Good.
It's far more than just for troubled teens.
Well, and Tim, you would also say have men come.
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't you say that this we find that
we
most,
both have daughters,
right?
And I realized actually later rather than earlier the importance of my influence on my daughters,
right?
For sure.
And even the greater influence being connected heart to heart, because when you see them leave out to go to school, college, your influence is limited then.
Yeah, so dads, you can come to this conference too. And
Please come.
Yes,
Your
and
kids
do
want
it.
you
Don't
there.
just send your wife there. It's for dads. It's for moms. It's for teenagers. Teenagers can't come by themselves.
Nope.
So that's right. They got to come with a parent. So you can't just send
Nope.
your kid there.
It's
So
not
is it
camp.
starting at 13 or preteens?
13 to
12?
18.
13 to
13 to
18.
18.
So literally teens.
Literal teens.
It's located at Denton Bible Church in Denton. In the past, you've had it in your
At your
ranch.
retreat.
No, actually, our retreat ranch didn't hold the number of people that we
Okay.
had, so we had it at Camp Copus.
Oh, okay. So, but
And-
this year it's at Denton Bible Church
Yeah.
in Denton. Go to parentpipelineproject.org
Yep.
and get signed up. It is. We haven't even announced the date. I don't think it's January 31st and
I think
February
she said the
1st.
end of the month.
I just think,
Yes.
She said the end. Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
say
but
the
she
end of the
didn't
month.
say the
So
31st.
January
Okay.
31st and February 1st.
Yeah, literally 24 hours.
Do you
And Don,
spend the
it's-
night? They go home and then they come back the next morning?
Yes, and if they're from out of town, and we have lodging that is
Okay.
available
Okay.
as well.
Don, I like to end with, we all have homes and cars, and we have to do preventive maintenance on them. And
good.
and if we don't, the wheels fall off. And so this is nothing but a tool to whether you're in trouble, whether you think your family is perfectly healthy. This is an opportunity to come and get a checkup.
And to
And
further
just-
the relationship with
And
you. There's no doubt.
I haven't seen a teen yet that don't have some kind of issue hidden in
Right.
them. And it's just like marriage. Sometimes you have to sit down and get into an atmosphere of where you can open up and, wow, I didn't realize.
Yeah, so often.
And-
I remember even younger in our marriage, we went to marriage conferences, and it just allowed, the conference, we got information, but we also it was just a time to retreat and a time to reflect, and it opened up things in our marriage.
Communicate.
Yes, and so that's a great weekend to do this. We hope you guys have the time, and we'll go get that. Go to parentpipelineproject.org, get signed up, and also hopefully today you've just gotten some encouragement with your teenager or to-be teenager to go pursue the relationship with them. It's okay to set technology boundaries, and
Yes.
but it's not about the rules. It's about the relationship first,
Yep.
and that's going to be that preventative maintenance. That's going to build that relationship with your son or daughter so that they connect with you and eventually connect with God. Suzanne, any final comments for us?
The only thing I was going to say is that parents, chances are, like if you pray about this and you decide that you're going to go, which I hope that you do, it will advance your relationship with your teenager for sure, but you will get resistance from your teenager. It's just the way of the world. And so I just encourage you to press in and tell your teenager, I love you and I want to know you more than anything else. And this time that we're going to spend together is so valuable to me. Will you please come with me? And so instead of going in and saying, we're going to go to this, you're going to like it, it's going to be great, you're going to love me when it's over, if you will come in with an invitation, then that I think is going to be very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Friday night's about, breaking down that
Right.
Awkward.
thought.
Yeah.
So we can
when
learn
they,
something
when
on
they all
Saturday.
come in, you can look at every
can-
family. There's a disconnect of, why am I
Right.
here? I don't need to be here. But by the time Friday night's over, everybody's having fun. They've met new friends. and-
Right.
Which is proof that
It's just-
deep down they want that. They
Yes.
deep down, I promise your teenager wants a relationship with you. And
Yes.
so that's what you get to see by the end of
Yep.
Friday night.
Yep.
So again, thank you guys for just your heart towards ministry, your heart towards teenagers, your heart towards parents, and go to parentpipelineproject.org. Get signed up, parents, and it's been a great time with you guys. Thanks
Yes,
so much.
we
for
Thank
appreciate
you.
the invitation.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So
Thank you.
go, parents. If that weekend's full, go do something else with your teenager. Go pursue the relationship. We love you guys.
Amen.
Go be crazy parents. CrazyCoolFamily.com.